Greetings and welcome. So last week I bought this laptop used. It was in excellent condition, but the only thing is it only had 8 gigs of RAM, so instead of installing Windows 11, I decided to install Linux Mint onto it. And in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I like to customize my Linux Mint setup. Okay, so this is a fresh install of Linux Mint. It's the XFCE version. And all I did was I installed the driver manager, the NVIDIA driver. So it gave me this icon here. So you won't have that if you didn't install it yet, or if you don't need to. And I also updated it with the update manager. And the only app that I added through the software package manager is this GPU screen recorder tool that's basically recording this video right now. So if we go to NeoFetch, you can see I'm running Linux Mint 22.2. This is my laptop. This is the desktop environment, XFCE, the window manager, XFWM4. This is my processor here. And it's running an NVIDIA GeForce 1650 mobile version. And it's using roughly 1 gig of RAM out of 8. Even though this says 7756 megabytes, it's 8 gigs of RAM. And so we'll get out of that. So the first thing I want to do to customize this, even though this looks pretty nice, Linux Mint did a good job, but my preferences are a little different. So for example, this menu here is a little cluttered in my opinion. Like if I go to accessories, it has these descriptions like calendar, access and manage your calendars. I don't really need to know the descriptions. I know what the calendar does. Thank you very much. So I'm going to go to properties and I'm going to disable this. So just uncheck it. And then if we go back to the menu, you see it looks much cleaner. And now it just says calendar. Right? And also I'm going to change the size of this. So I'm going to change it to 500 menu width, and we'll try 550 menu height. And when we go back, it's a little taller and a little wider. So you can fool around with that to your liking, but that's good for me. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the panel. We'll close this first. I'm going to right click on the panel, go to panel preferences, left click here. And this thing here, row size, that's for the height of this taskbar here. So I'm going to change it to 40. And you can see it grows a little bit. And in this appearance tab, the icon size is 20. That's a little small for me. My eyes are kind of old, so I'm gonna change it to 28. Press enter, and you notice it got a little bigger. So we'll try 32 also. If you prefer 32, that's pretty good also. But I'll just leave it for 28 for now. Maybe I'll change it later. And then here, if I go to items, I want to add, let me see. I want to add a workspace switcher since they don't have any. So I'm going to launch workspace. There you go. Press add, and you notice the workspace switcher shows up here at the end of the taskbar. And once I close this, I can highlight this and move it up. I'm going to move it up all the way to the beginning, because that's where I like my workspace switcher, and we'll leave it there. And while I'm here, I'm going to right click here. I'm going to go to workspace settings. I'm going to add 2 more. So now I have 6. I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back, right click again, and go to properties. And instead of 1 row, I'm going to make it 2 rows. So you see it condensed there. There's 6, but it's smaller. So that's the way I like that there. We'll close that. And for the separator, you see there's a separator here. So that's this one. So if I press this, I can expand it. So now it moved everything here closer to the center. And then I'm going to change it to transparent, so this gray line will disappear. There we go. We can close that. And I'm going to move these over here. So to do that, I'm going to just drag this down and this one down. There we go. So that's getting closer to how I like, but this is still pretty, like, I don't know why it's like that. XFCE is kind of weird here. It's kind of finicky, but we can adjust that. So you go to status tray plugin, go to settings, and here you watch this. When I press square items, you'll notice it'll change. You see, so now it aligns much better. And then since I'm here, fix icon size, I think I'm going to change it to 20. We'll try 24. Yeah, that looks okay to me. And we'll leave that there for now. That's okay. That looks good to me for now. And then next item, notification plugin. We're going to go to the settings. And I'm going to hide panel button when there's no unread notifications. So I'm going to hide that. And the icon size, I think I'm going to change that also to 24. Enter, and then I'm going to close that. Next item, X app status plugin. Going to go to settings. Going to choose 24 pixels. Close it there. And power management plugin. Settings. Looks like there's no icon size there. You can add the percentage here if you want, but I like to leave it blank. When you hover it, it'll show you some stats anyways. So since you can't change the icon size here, what I like to do is I like to move this over closer to these. So there's two ways to do it. You can just highlight this and move it up the chain, or you can right click here, press move, and move it where you like it. So I think I'll move it there. And what's the next item? Let us see. Pulse audio plugin. So we'll check that. And that looks like we can't change anything for the icon size there. So it's going to match these icon size as well, which is 28. So that's this thing here. So I think that's good for now. We'll hit close for that. And the last thing, we'll change the clock settings. So you notice this font is very small. I like to keep my clock simple, so I'm just gonna choose time only. And in the font settings, I'm gonna change it to 14, click select, and you notice it's much bigger. And one more thing, these two items, the speaker and the clock, are a little close, so you can add a separator. So add separator, click on the add button, and it shows at the end. Once you close it, you can highlight it, move it up, so now it's between the speaker and the clock, and you hit the settings and change it to transparent. So now you have a little space there. And this little red microphone, I don't know, it looks kind of ugly, but it only appears when I'm using the screen recorder tool, so it's not there all the time. So we'll close that, and it's looking pretty good right now. So one thing that Linux Mint doesn't have is a dock. It's something called the dock-like plugin, which comes by default in MX Linux. So I have a script. I'm going to open my file manager. Actually, the shortcut is right here. And this is my access to my USB stick. So I'm just going to copy some stuff over. So I want to copy these backgrounds. Copy, I'm going to put it into, you know what, I'm just going to put it in the home folder for now. Paste, we'll go back, and I have a few scripts. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to put it in the home folder as well. So we'll paste it here. So now that I'm in the home folder, I'm going to open this with the text editor. You won't have this because this is my own script, but you can read it. Let me try to enlarge it for you. Hopefully it works. There you go. So yeah, this will just make a symlink, a shortcut from the hidden file called .bash history, and it'll make a link to the visible file named history. This will be just an update command, sudo apt update, and sudo apt install Nala. Nala is just a better looking version of apt, so you don't really have to install it. You can use sudo apt install if you want to, but I prefer Nala. So after Nala installed, you notice I don't use sudo apt anymore. It's sudo Nala install. So I'm going to install Audacious, Genie, and GIMP. So this is my preferred music player, my preferred text editor, and GIMP is like kind of like Photoshop, but yeah, not the same. It's the open source version. And then the final command would be sudo Nala upgrade. So we're going to run that in the terminal. So I'm going to open the terminal right now. We'll enlarge it again for you. And we'll do an ls command. And we're going to run this first. So I run it using the bash command. So bash mint 22 underscore history. Oops. History. And then press enter. It'll ask you for the password. This laptop's for my son, by the way, so that's why it says password for Ethan. So the password. Hit enter. So now that's the sudo apt update, and then yes. And then now this is the Nala command. So Nala is going to install the 3 apps that I mentioned earlier. Press yes, and you notice it looks a little nicer. It's just a cosmetic thing, but it does the same thing as apt. So it shouldn't take very long. Okay, so that's installed. So we're gonna exit out of that, and the other script that I have here, so I'm going to show it to you. And then we'll enlarge it again. Actually, that's too big. But this script, it's kind of complicated. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but basically I asked AI to help me build this script, right? So what it does is adds a repository from the xubuntu-dev/extras. So the reason why I have to add it because I want this program and I don't want to compile it, right? And xubuntu just happens to have it. And since this version of Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu, it's compatible with this doc-like plugin program from the xubuntu repository. So xubuntu is the XFCE version of Ubuntu. So anyways, so I can make a copy of this and paste it in the link description for those who want to try this script. But that's what it is, and I'm going to run it right now and try to install the doc-like plugin. So we're going to maximize, enlarge it again for you guys, and then do an ls to see the contents. And we're going to do a bash get doc-like, oops, not plus, underscore, doc-like.sh. And press enter, password once again. And it shouldn't take that long. So yeah, it looks like it's done. So I'm going to exit out of that. Exit out of this. And then so to check if it's installed, I'm going to go to the panel preferences. Items, I'm going to Oops, that is wrong. My mistake. I actually have to add it here. And I'm going to check for dock-like. There it is. Add. And it will be at the end of the taskbar. So I highlight it here and I'm going to drag it up all the way there. And so what this dock-like is, it's basically a dock inside the taskbar. And since I'm here, I'm going to configure it now. So press this key. I'm going to change the icon to 28. And I'm going to change this style to rectangles. So instead of these long lines, they're going to be smaller rectangles. There, you notice that they shortened. And then orientation automatic, that's fine, or just bottom. You can change it to the top if you want, left or right, but bottom looks best in my opinion. And I think, oh, you know what else? I'm going to change the colors. So the active ones, I think I'm going to change to this color. And the inactive, I'm going to change to this darker gray. There you go. So this yellow one is the active one and the other ones are in the background. So that's done. I can close that. And then, so to add the items to the dock, all you have to do is launch them. For example, if I launch my terminal, it'll be there. And if I close it, it's gone from the dock. But if I want it to remain in the dock, all you have to do is launch it again, right click, pin to dock. Now once I close it, it remains in the dock, and then I can do that to all the apps that I prefer. So we'll just add this file manager here, web browser, we'll close that. Oh no, right click, pin to dock, close that. The only thing I don't like about this dock-like thing is I can't change the order. I can't drag it and then switch the order around. So yeah, that's a little annoying. But yeah, it's not that big a deal. I can like unpin it, right? And then say I want the exact order of this. Just launch them in the right order, pin them, and then close them all. And you can also, instead of closing like this, by clicking on the X, I can click on the middle wheel button right on the icon. So you notice this file manager here, I'm going to press the middle wheel button and then it closes. So that's the dock. I'm going to add a few more items. Let's see. That's my, you know what? I'm going to add Genie first, which is my favorite text editor. So G, yeah. And pin to dock, and I'm also going to add Audacious, which is the music player that I prefer to use. There. So now it's pinned to the dock. And so I think that's good for the dock-like, but since I have the dock-like plugin, I don't need this. So the dock-like will replace this. I don't need this to show that it's active because it's showing here, right? We're gonna remove the window buttons item. We'll remove that, and we're also gonna remove the other launchers that are not part of dock-like. So remove that one, remove this one. And there's another way to remove. You can right click here and press remove here as well. Remove, yes. So now it's looking closer to what I like. So we'll close that. Basically the taskbar is pretty much done as far as settings go. But there's still some more customizations I want to do. For example, the backgrounds. So you notice I have 6 workspace switchers here, but they're all the same background. And the good thing about XFCE, and it's different from other desktop environments that I tried, is that you can change, like you can have multiple backgrounds for your workspaces. So I'm going to show you that now. But actually before that, I have some backgrounds that I want to copy over. So you won't have this, so you're gonna have to get your own backgrounds, but I'm gonna make a folder called wallpapers, or just background is fine, I guess, backgrounds. And then I'm gonna move this here, go into it, right click, extract. So this is a .gz file, which is very similar to a .zip file. So once I extracted it, I can go to the folder. These are all my backgrounds. I highlight them, cut, move up a folder, paste. So now they're all in my background folder and not in the subfolder. So now I highlight these and I'm gonna delete these. So now I have my backgrounds uncompressed in the backgrounds folder. So once I have that, I'm on the first desktop here, as you notice. See, when you go to other ones, they darken a bit, right? So that's the first desktop. I'll maximize this for you. We'll choose the folder. So you go to Other, Home. That's the folder I just created. Open. And then I'll just pick a random background. You know, I like this background. So we'll pick that. And actually, if I minimize it, you notice it changed. And I'm going to also check this. So every 9 minutes, it's going to swap out a new background in this folder. And right now it says I got it to apply to all workspaces. So if I go to every workspace, it's the same background. But I actually don't want that. I want them different. So I'm going to uncheck that. So once I close this, you notice I go to these other workspace switchers. They're a different background, but it's generic. It's just the generic default one because I haven't set a specific background for it. So I'll do that now. Desktop settings. Go to my backgrounds folder again. Nope, not that one. Where is it? Home. Backgrounds. Open. So this one, I'm not going to change the I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to change it every 10 minutes. I just want it to say the same, right? So we'll pick this one. I like this one. There you go. And then I'm just going to keep doing that. You kind of get the picture. So I'm going to keep doing that for all the other workspaces. Oops, home, backgrounds, open, and which one do I want? I'll just pick this one. So this one is random every 9 minutes. This one is static. It's going to stay the same. This one is static. This one I'm going to change it to random, but in the Linux Mint. These are the default Linux Mint wallpapers. For example, if I choose this one here and I change it in the back, we'll change it every 12 minutes. So if I close that, you notice this one it changed, but this is going to change every 12 minutes and this one is going to change every 9 minutes. So if we go to the 5th workspace, I want to make it static this time, so I'm going to go back to you know what, I'll choose this one. That's fine. And then for the 6th one, I also want that to be a static. I don't want it to change, so Other, Home, Backgrounds, Open, and which one shall I choose? You know what? I'll choose this one. Close. There you go. So now I have multiple different backgrounds for every one of my workspace switchers. So that's pretty good there. Next thing I want to do is go to my menu and I search for Window Manager Tweaks. So right here, Window Manager Tweaks, and under Workspaces, I want to check this. So once this is enabled, I'll close that now. I can scroll on the desktop. So I got my finger on my wheel mouse. Actually, let me start here. Start on the first one. I got my finger on my wheel mouse right now, and I'm going to scroll it down one. And you notice it went to the second workspace. If I scroll it down again once, it'll go to the third. Now the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. And if I scroll up, it'll do the reverse, right? So now I can use the scroll wheel on the desktop to change my workspaces instead of clicking like this. So now you have two options. So technically, once that feature is enabled, you could technically even delete this thing, right? Delete this workspace switcher, right click remove, and you'll have the function with the scroll wheel, but we'll leave it here so you have two different ways to do it. So that's pretty good there. And then now what I want to do is I want to adjust some key bindings, right? So if you go to search for keyboard, press that and go to application shortcuts, you'll notice there's some default shortcuts here. So if I maximize that, there's not a lot, so we'll just go back to that. This one I don't need for the mail. These ones we'll leave for now. This is for, I use this a lot. Thunar or Thunar, I don't know what it's, I call it Thunar, but there's two shortcuts for this. We'll remove that. Orca, I don't need that. We'll remove that. This one I don't like. This is when you hit the super, right? Because it interferes with other shortcuts. For example, if I do super E, actually, let me try that again. Hold on. Let me close this. Super E, you notice it opens the menu and then it opens the file manager. I don't want to do that, right? I just wanted to open the menu, or not the menu, the file manager. So we're gonna go back to the shortcuts and we're gonna delete this this one here, XFCE 4 pop-up whisker menu. We're gonna remove that. So now when I do super E, it just shows the file manager instead of showing the menu and then the file manager. So that looks good to me. I'm going to add a few more shortcuts. So for example, Genie, my editor, that's the command for it. Press OK, and then I'm going to choose the key binding, super G. I'm also going to add, for the terminal, the command is xfce4-terminal. And then I'm going to add extra settings, which is a -T and terminal. So this is just to change the text of the terminal. For example, right now, if I click on the terminal, you notice the text is this, right? But I want it to be a little cleaner. So, okay, I'm going to choose the key binding, super T, and then now I'm going to test it out, super T, and you notice here it looks cleaner. It just says terminal, right? So it's just a little thing, but I prefer it that way. So yeah, so I got my key bindings for my terminal, my file manager, my what else? My Genie editor and web browser. I don't like this shortcut, so we'll remove that, and we'll remove that, and I'm gonna add one for Firefox, the default web browser, and I guess you could do super F, but I do super W for a web browser. So, and then we'll test it out. Super W. There you go. Firefox loads. So that's that. You kind of get the picture. You know what? One more I'm gonna add for later. So we're gonna do yad dash color. And gonna press OK, and the key binding will be super Y, and we'll close that for now. If I try super Y, it says failed to launch, and the reason is YAD is not installed yet, but I'm gonna install it now in the terminal. So sudo nala install yad. Enter password. Yes. And there you go, it installed. So now I can either type yad -- color. That's what it is, and I'll show you what it's used for later. Or once I close all this, I can use the key binding, which is the super Y, and it pops up there. And why did I install this? I'll show you right now. So everything looks pretty nice for me as it is, right? Except for this clock here. Like, it looks all right, but I want to add a little color to it. And if you go to right-click properties, there's no easy way here to add colors, but there is a way. So I have a file. I'll open my file manager. Actually, it's in here. So we're gonna go to my tweaks, I believe. Yes, XFCE custom clock examples. So I'm gonna open that, and we'll enlarge that for you. All right, so the key is here. So you right-click properties, time only, yes. So in the format, you go to custom, and in the custom you can add other stuff, right? So technically you could even add like, hi, how are you, right? But that's kind of lame. But you could add messages there. You can use the clock to add whatever labels or messages, and then you can add another clock for the time. But I want to use this to add color to my clock. So these are examples. This is in the Pango markup language. It's similar to HTML, but different. But anyways, so this example, it'll show this, but in color. This it'll show like this in color, but I just want the simple thing. It'll look similar to the original clock that I had earlier, but with color. So I'm just gonna copy all this, right click copy, we'll go back to that, and right click paste. And you notice there it has some color. So we'll close this and close this. So this is where you change the color. Where is it? This is the color code right here. Right, so it's RGB and in hexadecimal format. So the lowest digit will be 0 and the highest will be F. So it'll be A, B, C, D, E, or F. But we don't need to go deep into that. But for example, if I do FF for red, red goes to maximum, and the other two colors, no green and no blue, you see it becomes red. So it's RR red red, GG blue blue, GG green green, and BB blue blue, RGB, right? So as another example, oops, let me try that again, and we'll delete that. You notice it's green because these two colors are for green, right? And the last two colors are for blue, right? And then you can mix, for example, blue and red, right, is purple, right? What else? If you maximize them all, it becomes white, right? So anyways, that's just a quick overview. But what if you want some complicated colors? That's where the yad -- color comes in, right? So I'm gonna just pick a random color here. Let's see, this looks all right. I'll probably change it later, right? But we're gonna copy this, and then we're gonna delete all this old color, and then we're gonna paste it right there. There you go. So now it's like a purplish. It's like not quite red, but not quite full red. It's a more custom color. So we can try another one. What one do I like actually that will match this? I think we'll just do this one. So Control C, we can highlight this, Control V to paste. There you go. So that's how you do that. Close. OK. And one final customization that I like to do is the terminal. So when you launch the terminal, it shows nothing. So I want it to run something. For example, if I actually will do this, we'll go to the file manager. We'll view the hidden files, which is here, and we're gonna edit the bash or .bashrc. So we'll open it with the text editor, and we're gonna go to the end of the line. Don't worry about all this. Actually, since I'm here, I'm gonna add aliases. So I like to add a few aliases. So alias install equals sudo nala install. So once I have this alias activated, I just have to type install in the program instead of always typing sudo nala install, right? If I want to remove Firefox, I could just type remove Firefox, right? Instead of sudo nala remove Firefox. So that's how that works. So I'm just going to add one more alias. Search equals nala search. You don't need sudo for the search. So nala search. There. So that's, I'll add more aliases later, but we'll just add that for now. And then for here, for example, if you wanted to run neofetch after it loaded all these settings for your bash terminal, or for your terminal, right? You can just type neofetch, and then you can save it. And then watch when I click my terminal, it launches neofetch right away, right? You can like quite a few distros actually do this out of the box, but I don't watch neofetch all that much, right? So I like to add sensors. So Linux Mint has sensors installed out of the box. If your distro doesn't, like Debian might not have it, so you do like sudo apt install sensors, right? But anyways, we'll save this, and actually, and then we're going to test it out. So there you go, see? So every time I launch the terminal, I can quickly see the temperatures of my CPU, GPU, etc., right? So I like that. And you could even do some goofy things. For example, I could do like echo, which is leaves a space, and then just type something like hi nerd, don't forget to there, we can do something like that. And then every time you open the terminal, your terminal's insulting you. How about that? Yeah, so that's that. I think that's all the customizations I want to do. So if you want to give it a try, you can get this version of Linux Mint from linuxmint.com. So you go there and just click this download button. And this is the flagship one, which is pretty nice also. A lot of people use this, but this is the one I use, XFCE, because it's a little bit more lightweight, but I'm also very familiar with customizing XFCE, so I just like using this one. So and there's another lightweight version also, Mate. These two are kind of the same in memory usage, right? This one's a little heavier in memory usage, but there's actually not quite a difference between them, right? Now they're all pretty compared to Windows 11, they all use like much less RAM. Windows 11 I think uses like 3.5 gigs of RAM, so This one uses like maybe 1 gig. Here, I'll check the NeoFetch again. Or you know what? Top. We'll just check top. So here, might be hard to see, but it's using, no, this is the total RAM. Where's, oh, it's using more because I'm running a browser, but we'll try that again. Here, where's NeoFetch? NeoFetch. Yeah, it's running 2 gigs right now, but that's with the web browser. Alright, so without like, just like bare bones, it's running like around 1 gig, and Windows 11 bare bones is like at least 3 gigs, at least. Alright, so anyways, so I think that concludes this video. Sorry, I've been rambling quite a bit, but thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, and subscribe to make this channel grow. So until next time, goodbye, adios, sin ciao.